Welcome. In front of me I have the brand new Motorola ThinkPhone. So this is a collaboration between ThinkPad, which is Lenovo, and Motorola. And this is, as far as I have seen from Motorola, one of the more premium devices. Now there is a little bit of a drawback which I just see from a spec sheet, but I'll touch upon that once I get to it. So anyway, let's just pop it open. Okay, so now that we get everything out of the box, let's just kind of go over this. So right off the bat you can see this huge display, or maybe not huge but pretty decent one. So just quickly I guess go to the setup. So this is a 6.6 inch display. It is actually on a little bit of a smaller side compared to other devices. Now it is a P OLED display. I'm not exactly sure what the P stands for, but it is an OLED, 1 billion colors, 144 Hz refresh rate, HDR10 plus, 89% screen to body ratio with 399 pixels per inch. So in terms of the display right here, you're basically getting one really good display. So this is what I'd call like industry standard. Even like the flagship Samsungs come with such a displays. So you're not being like, you know, the quality here is on par with what I'd consider a price tag. So let's just quickly get through this. There we go. And now, screen right here is really vibrant, which is kind of weird to me. From specifically from Motorola, they usually have it a little bit more toned down, a little bit more like normal. This kind of feels like I'm looking at a Samsung display, so I'm gonna quickly fix that out because it's a little bit too overdone for my liking. And we can go into the display, and in here we're gonna go into colors, saturated, natural. There we go, fixed. So let's now touch up on the cameras. Right here we have a triple camera setup at the back, as you can see, with this carbon fiber finish. I'm not actually sure if this is real carbon fiber. Let's see if there is anything mentioned. Aramid fiber back. Not exactly sure what that, I guess that it refers that it is a carbon fiber back, although I could be wrong. I'm not exactly sure, never heard that Aramid, whatever that is. But anyway, now we have an aluminum frame. And anyway, let's move over to the cameras. So the main sensor right here is a 50 megapixel wide sensor. Then we get a 13 megapixel ultra wide and a 2 megapixel depth. Now, first problem right here is with the 2 megapixel depth. At the price that they're offering this phone, the 2 megapixel depth is an insult, to be honest. A phone at this price range should not include a garbage camera like that. It's a sticker camera that already bugs me immensely on budget devices and mid-range devices. It is a middle finger to a customer. Now, giving that middle finger to a person that spends $1,100 on this device is just baffling. Like, get your head out of your ass, Motorola. This is unacceptable, to be honest. Like, there is no reason you include a 2 megapixel sensor at this price range. Either don't include it at all, or include something that should be here at a significantly higher pixel count. So, there we go. That's kind of where I'm coming from. Now, flipping it over, we have a hole punch camera right here, and this is a 32 megapixel wide sensor. And for some reason on the website it shows me two different cameras. So either it's a 32 or 16. Honestly, I have no clue. Moving on. So curious about one thing. Whoops, dropped that one. Where is it? There we go. So I can already tell that we don't have expandability here whatsoever, but I just want to be absolutely certain. Sim 1 and Sim 2, and yeah, we don't, which is a little bit of a shame considering this is a Motorola device at $1,100, and for the most part Motorola does have pretty bare bones devices, but they do give you that options for upgradability with the SD card, and sometimes even like switchable batteries. Here we don't have any of that, which is honestly, to me, I would have come to expect from Motorola that they would have added an SD card, even at this price range. I don't get why you pay more and get less. Like, to me, it's super annoying. I really want to like this phone, to be honest, but at this moment, it's very hard. So, now moving on to other things that will probably annoy not only me. Internals. We have starting from 8 up to 12 gigs of RAM in here. And just to kind of go over the different variants, we have 128 gigs of storage, 8 gigs of RAM, 256, 8 gigs, 256, 12 gigs, and 512 storage with 12 gigs of RAM. All of them running at UFS 3.1. Now, this phone has been released in the January 5th of 2023. Now, the reason I point that out is because we have UFS 4.0. We also have Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. This is 8 plus Gen 1. So it's an old processor, old storage unit, like standard. I guess old might not be the correct word, but it is substituted by a newer one, a better one. So honestly, at this price range, this phone just seems a little bit lackluster. It carries the branding of ThinkPad, Lenovo's. It feels like a nice premium device, but the spec sheet of it doesn't really say that it is premium. Sure, it's pretty small, and at least they did one thing correctly. At a 6.6 inches display and size, they packed in here a 5,000 mAh battery and included a really good charger, but this is not really worth the money that they want. So at $1,100, this phone is massively overpriced, and obviously it will be outperformed by the almost at the same time released Samsung devices. So Samsung S23, even like the bare lowest one that costs like $700, I believe, or $8. It already has better specs than this, apart from a battery and charging speeds. But if you go to, for instance, S23 Plus or Ultra, obviously Ultra will be a little bit more expensive, Plus cheaper, and all of these devices, even from the lowest one that is significantly cheaper than this, they will outperform this phone and benchmarks, no problem. They're running faster storages and better processors. That's why I'm saying this, it's baffling to me that this phone could have been great if they just decided to either make it cheaper with the current hardware that they have in here, which should have been the correct decision, or just wait a little bit longer and implement a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 instead of Gen 1. So mistakes were made here, obviously. Other than that, if we don't consider that Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 exists, which is absolutely stupid to not include that when you're buying a phone right now, if we just kind of get completely, blank-minded and just think that this is the newest one, it's still expensive. Whatever they're offering, the collaboration between Lenovo, I don't know if to some people it might be worth that much. Maybe you really like the carbon fiber back, good for you. But if we just consider the fact that if we remove the collaboration from here and keep the price tag, this is a carbon fiber back phone, aluminum frame with a decent display, or good display, good battery, Snapdragon, let's just call it flagship processor, not the newest one, keep in mind. I still think that this phone is about $100 to $150, maybe even $200 too expensive. If we remove the branding right here. That's how I would classify, or that's how I would judge the phone. I'm not really looking for, the bling right here. Some people will be looking for, I'm using a ThinkPad or ThinkPhone as it's called, and that's fine. I guess that phone is designed for you, but as a typical user, and I'm looking for value for my money, I don't see a value in something that is just branded with, for instance, a Leica or Lenovo branding. Like, I don't care for that. I care what I get for my money, and the little sticker right here doesn't give me anything. And what it gives me is a higher price tag for basically no reason, with a phone that at current moment is outdated, yet costs more than it should. So that's kind of my approach right here. I really want to like this phone. I would probably like it a little bit more if the processor would be on par with the current flagship processors, but it's not. And like I said, if maybe the price was cheaper with this processor that is included right now, I'd be more lenient to it. But as it stands right now, it's basically trying to compete with flagship devices, but the flagship devices are at a higher standard than this in terms of performance. So they kind of missed the ball, the release. I'm not exactly sure why they released it so late in this case. The Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 has been out for over half a year, I think, at the moment. I've been using my Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 on Fold for over half a year now. I think it's been over half a year. If not, it's really close to it. So this phone being released a little bit late to the party, it's already just kind of getting shafted by the time that it's being released at. If it was released earlier, then would have been much better alternative, maybe, or maybe not much better. Could have been a better product, let's call it this. I'm not exactly sure how to just classify this, but like you heard me say it, at the moment this is outdated device for an inflated price, basically. And that's basically all I have to say about it. So if you found this very helpful, informative, maybe just a little bit fun, I'm kind of ragging on this, then hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.